Yo, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be ranking every single card evolution in Clash Royale. We're going to be ranking them through tiers S to a don't even buy tier. Obviously, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Starting off here, we have the Evolved Goblin Braille here. I feel like the Evolved Goblin Braille is really strong in the current meta, and honestly, it's been strong ever since it's been released. It's used in a ton of different Logbait decks right now. I feel like it provides a lot of dual lane pressure, and honestly, I can see this evolution definitely getting nerfed. Evo Barrel is a staple to Logbait decks, 100% mandatory, and for that, I'm going to put it in A tier. Next up here, we have the Evolved Goblin Cage. I feel like Evolved Goblin Cage is a really underrated evolution, also kind of forgotten about. I feel like a lot of people don't really realize how much value the Evolved Goblin Cage can give, unless you're like maybe a Golem player or something where, you know, you just drop an Evo Cage on a Golem and you just start crying because your Golem is just getting diddied by the cage. Evo Cage is mainly used in maybe Golem decks. It's used in a few Lava Hound decks. Also used in Recruits. Definitely a staple of Recruits. Very solid evolution. I don't think it's on the same level as the Evolved Goblin Braille, but definitely a strong evolution, so I'll put it in the B tier. Next up here, we have the Evolved Archers. Evolved Archers are actually quite strong as well. I don't think they're as good in the current meta as some of the other evolutions, but I do think that the Evo Archers have their place, and the Evo Archers are really strong in Expo, maybe a few off-meta decks. The only sad part about Archers is that they're not really good in their unevolved form, so the evolved form kind of carries them, but I do think that they're essential to Expo. They're pretty decent in some Elixir Golem decks as well, and I feel like whenever you split them, the Evo Archers can even get value against arrows, which is kind of crazy to me. I think that Evo Archers are very strong. I think that they're a little bit better than the Evo Goblin Cage, so I'm going to put them at the top of the B tier. We have the Evo Barbs. Man, Evo Barbs are in kind of a sad spot right now. Evo Barbs are very strong against new cards in the meta, like Boss Bandit, right? But Evo Barbs get countered by so many different evolutions, like Firecracker, you have Bomber, you have Wizard, you have Valkyrie, you have Mega Knight, you have Erag, you have the new Evo Witch. You can kind of go on, and Evo Barbs just almost never ever get value, and they're only really used in this one bridge spam deck. They're not even really being used in Lava Hound anymore. Evo Barbs are okay if you face up against the right decks, but in general, they are not very good, so I'm going to put them in D tier for that. Let's shout out today's sponsor, Coopert. If you do any online shopping, whether it's on Amazon, Walmart, or wherever, Coopert is a free browser extension that lets you save money automatically. When you're checking out, it scans and applies the best available coupon codes, no digging or copy pasting needed. It also shows you price comparisons as you browse, so you can see if another site has the same product for less. Super helpful when you're not trying to overpay for something you could have gotten cheaper. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, this kind of sounds like, right? Well, yes and no. Here's the key difference. Coopert actually sticks to the rules. They don't mess with other people's links, they don't hijack commissions, and they don't override anything behind the scenes. The credit goes to whoever actually earned it, whether that's a creator, a cashback site, or a direct affiliate. Coopert just helps you save without interfering. So, if you're someone who shops online even semi-regularly, installing Coopert is a no-brainer. It's free, takes 2 clicks, and it just works. Hit the link in the description to check it out, and thanks again to Coopert for sponsoring the video. Now we have the Evo Bats. Actually, one of my more favorite evolutions. I really enjoy the Evo Bats just because of the healing mechanic. They're very nice. I feel like Evo Bats got a lot of indirect buffs recently with a lot of nerfs to spells such as Rage, Tornado, and then also because of how strong the Evo Snowball is, not many people are playing with the Zap anymore. So, because of the nerfs to those cards, the Evo Bats don't really die to any spells anymore, except for the Snowball and the Rage, but you have to react very fast, so usually 2 or 3 Evo Bats live, which still let them get a lot of value. Evo Bats are strong. I do think that they're a bit worse than the Archers, but I think that they're maybe a bit better than the Evolved Goblin Cage. Just going to put Bats in the middle. We have Evo Batter. Evo Batter is such a strange evolution because I feel like that it has a lot of potential, but at the same time, no matter how good the evolved version of the Batter is, it's always going to get countered by the same stuff that it already gets countered by. And based off the concept of the evolution, if you have nothing for the Evo Batter, it's going to be like the MVP of the game. I'm thinking of decks that have like only Swarm cards with no like resets like Log or Spirits and maybe no buildings. Works very well. It does have the nice Evo Barbs inside of it, mainly only used in Pekka and maybe some other bridge spam decks. I feel like Evo Batter is the perfect definition of a mid-tier evolution, so I'm going to put it in the C tier. Evo Bomber. I feel like Evo Bomber is kind of good, but the only problem with the Evo Bomber is that it's usually never an option in your deck. Like, there's always better evolutions to use, and because there's only 2 evolution spots, I feel like you're not really able to have it work anymore, because you'd rather, like, you know, maybe the other cards that are in your cycle decks, like maybe Evo Tesla, Evo Cannon, Evo Ice Spirit, you know what I mean? Maybe just Evo Dark Goblin and Firecracker are better options. Even Archers, honestly, are just better. So I feel like Evo Bomber is good, but I don't think it really has a place in the meta right now. So I'm going to put it above the Batter Ram, but it's still definitely mid. Ooh, guys, now we have the Evo Firecracker. Man, Evo Firecracker is so strong right now in this meta, mainly because of the Evo Witch, but I know a lot of you guys already hate the Evo Firecracker anyways, because whenever I do my Pushing Up to Ultimate Champion videos, I face Firecracker on repeat over and over and over again. Probably one of the most popular evolutions in the game right now. I don't think it's in the same tier as Evo Goblin Braille, but it's definitely better than the Evo Bats. I think in the current meta, it works better than the Archers, so I'm going to put it at the top of B tier, just for the sake of the current meta. Now, guys, we have the Evolved Goblin Giant. Evolved Goblin Giant is just kind of trash. It's an alright evolution in general, right? Like, it spawns goblins when it starts getting low. It spawns them pretty frequently as well, but why would you ever use the Evo Goblin Giant when there's the 5 Elixir Giant? It's cheaper, has more health, and you save a card evolution slot for, you know, maybe more offense, maybe have better defense. So I think for that reason, you kind of have to put the Evo Goblin Giant in the don't even buy tier, because why would you buy it when you can just use the Giant? Kind of sad where the Evo Goblin Giant stands right now. Next up, we have the Evo Mortar. Evo Mortar is also kind of strong. I feel like Evo Mortar is one of those evolutions where they work just as good on offense as they do on defense. Evo Mortar is such a pain whenever they use it defensively, because you kind of can't break through. There's a lot of different types of Mortar decks going around in recent metas as well. Very, very versatile evolution. I don't think it's as strong as the Evo Goblin Braille, but I do definitely think it deserves a spot in that A tier. By the way, guys, comment down below what you think about my tier list. Let me know if you have any things that you would change as you watch the video and stuff like that. I'm kind of curious to see how you guys think. Can we have the Evo RG? Man, because I'm ranking the Evos as an evolution and not, you know, as a deck, I feel like if we ranked RG, when you consider the fact that it is so strong in a deck, I feel like I'd rank it in the S tier. But RG as an evolution kind of just does its job. I think that it's very, very solid at doing what needs to be done. Like, it knocks back all of the smaller DPS and smaller tank units like Mini Pekka, Lumberjack, Knight, Valkyrie. Also clears out Swarm, which RG kind of has a hard time with, like Goblin Gang, Guard, Skeleton Army. But I don't think that it's like crazy compared to some of the other evolutions. Probably a bit worse than Archers as an evolution, but obviously if we're ranking it as a deck, I'd put RG in the S tier. Next up here, we have the Evo Royal Recruits. I'm not going to lie, guys, I completely hate this card. It's my most hated card in the game, so take my opinion here with a grain of salt, but I think that if I try to be as unbiased as possible, Evo Recruits are top of the A tier evolution. They're so annoying to deal with. I feel like they're so strong, and even after so many nerfs, you know, they definitely need another one. I would say even an emergency nerf, to be honest. For that, I'm going to put them above the Evo Goblin Barrel. Next up, we have the Evo Skeletons. Evo Skeletons are kind of in a similar situation as Barbs, but kind of mixed with the Bomber. Like, why would you play Evo Skeletons if you had literally any other option in your deck? Ever since the Evo Skeletons got that one nerf where they lowered the attack speed, I feel like Evo Skeletons a lot of the time don't even hit the unit before it dies, so they don't even start multiplying. Obviously, you do get those nice instances where, like, Evo Skeletons take out an entire Pekka, maybe a whole Giant or a Golem, but in general, if you're against a decent player who's playing smart and making sure to save all of their spells for the Evo Skeletons, really all you're going to get is the positive Elixir trade, which is good, but you'd probably rather any other evolution in the deck if it's available. So I'm going to put it in the D tier. Probably a bit worse than Barbarian's Evo in the meta. Now we have the Evo Tesla. Guys, ever since Evo Tesla got that buff, Evo Tesla has actually been kind of insane. I feel like there's obviously other options, but I think that the buff to the Evo Tesla definitely gave a clear standout difference to the other buildings like Evo Mortar and the Evo Cannon as well, kind of giving it a reason to be used in a deck. I feel like it's very strong, works very, very nicely in the meta right now, helping deal with Evo Witches, maybe some Lava Hound decks. I feel like it's better than the Evo Firecracker. I'm going to put it in the top of B tier. The only thing that's bad about Evo Tesla is that it's not very versatile. Here we have Evo Valkyrie. In my opinion, Evo Valkyrie is the most underrated evolution in Clash Royale right now. Evo Valkyrie is a staple to every single deck that it's in. It always ends up being the standout MVP for decks like Lava Hound, maybe some Goblin Drill decks, maybe even some Logbait decks. Evo Valkyrie is a must-have on defense whenever you have it in your deck. It's always the defensive highlight and also can work very nicely in weird ways on offense as well. I feel like the fact that Evo Valkyrie just can defend certain pushes by itself, like a giant Night Witch, for example, or maybe some type of E-Golem pushes, it's so strong. I don't think it's better than the Evo Mortar, but I do think that it's definitely an A-tier evolution. Next up, we have the Evo Wall Breakers. Evo Wall Breakers is such a versatile evolution. Evo Wall Breakers work offensively and defensively. They always get nice value on defense whenever you drop it. Say it counters a minion horde, counters barbarians, takes out skeleton dragons. It also takes out lava pups. And you always get positive trades because the only card that can full counter the barbarian barrel for an equal trade is the log, but it's almost an impossible timing to get off, and it's often used in bait decks like minor wall breakers with spear goblins or log bait, so you can always get nice value out of the Evo Wall Breakers. I think they're probably the top end of B tier, maybe the bottom end of A tier, but I think maybe right behind Evo Tesla is good for this meta. Next up, we have the Evo Wizard. Man, Evo Wizard is in such a weird spot right now because there is no, and I mean no reason to use it over Evo Firecracker, Evo Archers, Evo Bomber, Evo Witch, Evo Executioner, and Evo Dark Goblin, or even Evo Musketeer. I mean, maybe a bit of a reason over Evo Musketeer, but usually you wouldn't really want to. I feel like because of the lack of decks that it's able to be used in, I can't think of a single deck that I would use Evo Wizard in. I haven't seen an Evo Wizard in, honestly, months. I don't think it's good at all. I feel like it's a solid card, but it's just awful in the meta. So for that reason, I'd put it in the don't even buy category because you would literally rather any other evolution ranged attacker than the Evo Wizard. So I feel like you can't even rank it in the D tier even. Next up, we have Evo Zap here. Evo Zap, I love this card. I feel like Evo Zap does its job very, very well. Every third Zap, you get to take out those nice ranged evolutions like Archers, Dark Goblin, Bomber, Firecracker, as well as resetting stun units like Inferno Dragon and Inferno Tower 2 times. Sometimes even having some nice spell combinations like Evo Zap plus Fireball to take out E-Drags and Archer Queens, even Evo Wizards. So I feel like Evo Zap is definitely a very, very solid evolution. I don't think that it's better than the Evo RG, but I do think that it's better than the Evo Bats currently, just because of how weak the Evo Bats are against, you know, Zap itself and then the Evo Snowball too. Next up, we have the Evo Lumberjack. Evo Lumberjack is a very fun evolution, and a lot of you guys may disagree with my take on the Lumberjack because of how much it dominated the game just 2 to 3 months ago. Every single deck had it, but now that it's 4 Elixir with a 2 Evo cycle, meaning you have to play it twice to get to the evolution on the 3rd drop, I feel like it only works in beatdown decks. Now, you can't really use it in any cycle deck, so it's really only used in maybe Giant and maybe some random Lumberloon decks, but even then I feel like Lumberjack Evo is kind of getting replaced in some of these decks, so I feel like Evo Lumberjack, it's good, but it's not amazing. I feel like the top of C tier is best. It's almost better than mid, but I feel like it might need a little bit of a boost to get better than mid. We have the Evo E-Drag here. For the sole concept of the Evo E-Drag, I want to put it S tier, but because of how E-Drag performs against a lot of stuff, I feel like you can't really put it higher than like C or B tier. Evo E-Drag, when you have a beatdown deck, say Golem Night Witch, Giant Prince, and you don't have a Lightning, you don't have a Fireball Evo Zap, this card will destroy any single push with not even like a second for the push to survive. I feel like the concept is a little skewed, and I think for that reason it may need a little bit of a nerf, but in reality, it gets countered by so many different units, and if you're not up against a very short line of decks, you're just going to get cooked for having it. I feel like it's just a C tier evolution, maybe a bit better than the Battle Ram, but worse than the Bomber. Here, guys, we have our first S tier evolution. Evo Snowball, in my opinion, is a top 3 evolution in the game. If you asked me last month what the best Evo was, I would have said Evo Snowball, but because of some of the new additions to Clash Royale, I feel like that the Evo Snowball is an S tier evolution for sure. Pairs perfectly with Goblin Drill. Just the amount of threats that the Evo Snowball poises at one time is just kind of crazy, and usually those threats are unavoidable. So I feel like that's a perfect example of an S tier Evo. Now we have the Evo Mega Knight, probably going to be the most controversial ranking of the video, but I feel like the Evo Mega Knight is a solid evolution, although it's not as good as a lot of people think. I feel like the Evo Mega Knight has never dominated the game, but there has been a lot of instances where it has been strong, maybe a bit annoying, even a bit popular, but I'd never say it had that dominating factor. It's definitely better than every evolution in C tier by a decent shot, but I don't think that it's better than most of the B tier. I feel like it's probably like a middle B tier evolution, maybe right behind the RG, but in front of the Evo Zap. I like the Evo Mega Knight, but I feel like at the top level, it isn't the hardest to counter. Next up, guys, we have the Evo Pekka. I feel like Evo Pekka is in an okay spot ever since it got the most recent buff, I want to say 3 weeks ago. It's starting to be used more. It's still not as strong as it once was, but it's still in the typical bridge spam and Pekka bridge spam decks where it definitely shines over there, but I do feel like that it's a bit on the weaker end, so I think for that reason I'm going to put it in the D tier. Maybe better than Skeletons, but worse than... Nah, it's better than Barbarians too, for sure. I'll put it in the top of D tier. Now, guys, we have the Evo Cannon. Coming off of a nerf, Evo Cannon is still one of the best evolutions in Clash Royale. It always gets value. It's like a do-it-all card. Evo Cannon is the best ground defensive building, you know, taking out Battle Rams, Pekkas, RGs, you name it. And then the Evo, it now makes it take out ranged units. It's like an airstrike. It takes out any ranged unit, you know, like Archers, Dark Goblin, Firecracker, Bomber, Bats. I know I keep repeating that. And it even takes out air units, you know, like Skeleton Dragons. It takes out Lava Pubs, helps out against Balloon. It just does everything, and it's S tier by a mile. I would have Snowball above it, but Evo Cannon is right there next to it. Now we have the Evo Dark Goblin. I feel like Evo Dark Goblin is a good example on what an evolution should be. It's strong, but it isn't game-breaking ever since the nerfs that it got. And I feel like that it's a good card whether you have it evoed or not. What I think makes a good evolution is that if it doesn't need to be evoed to be viable, and then the Evo just gives it like a nice little upgrade against stuff that it is a bit weak against, I feel like that's the perfect thing, and that's exactly what Dark Goblin does. You can use it Evo or not Evo, but whenever you do have the Evo, you know, it does do nicely against stuff that it's bad against, maybe like a bit more of the tank units, since Dark Goblin doesn't do a lot of damage at once. I think it's the best C tier evolution for sure. Now, we have the Evo Executioner. If you asked me last month where I would rank this, I feel like I would put it maybe in the number 1 or the number 2, maybe the 3rd spot. I don't think that it's S tier anymore, though, unfortunately, just because of the meta switches, and I think because it's only really viable in 2 decks, maybe Bridge Spam and Hog Executioner, which is a very niche deck. Both of them are not really too popular, and there's other variations of them that are, in my opinion, better without the Evo Executioner. I feel like it's the best A tier evolution, but it's not S tier, because I feel like with S tier, it's usually like a must-have in the decks that you're using it in. Like, you never, ever go for the unevolved version of that card. Not never, but you typically don't. Here we have the Evo Goblin Drill. Man, Evo Goblin Drill is probably the most tragic evolution of all time. Evolved Goblin Drill dominated Clash Royale for like, I want to say half of a year. It went through phases where it would be the best card, then it would still be really good, but it would no longer be the best, and then, you know, it just completely fell off. Now, in every Goblin Drill deck, you don't want the Evo. You never ever see the drill being ran with the Evo anymore, and it's just sad because there is always so many better options in every single Goblin Drill deck that you just never want to use the Evo, and I think that is the only evolution where you'd rather the non-evolved version almost every single time, ever since it got that nerf where it stopped doing the impact damage when it switches spots. It's just been kind of horrible and kind of sad, honestly. I do think that the Evo Drill needs a bit of a buff because of that. I don't think that it's actually horrible. I just think that when you only have 2 evolution spots, Evo Goblin Drill is never one that you give that slot to. And just for that, I'm going to put it as the worst evolution in Clash Royale right now. Next up here, we have the Evo Hunter. I think that, you know, 3 weeks ago, Evo Hunter was unarguably the best evolution in Clash Royale. But I think now with the Evo Witch being a bit popular, I do think that it's no longer the best, but I do think that it is a staple of Royal Giant, and you never ever go for the unevolved version of Hunter. It is so strong. It does its job so nicely, just, you know, stunning those units, putting it in the net, letting the Hunter just take them out completely. It is such a nuisance on defense, and Evo Hunter surviving Fireball Zap is an insane interaction. S tier for sure, but not on the level of Cannon. Now we have Evo Musketeer. This is actually one of my favorite evolutions. I love the Evo Musketeer. It's so much fun to use, and you can make some very nice predictions with it. Unfortunately for the Evo Musketeer, it's really only used in that one minor balloon cycle deck where it has the snowball. I feel like it's a decent evolution, but it's kind of niche where you only use it in a few decks. Typically, there's better options, but I do think that it works very, very well in the decks that it's good in. I think I'm going to put it in the top of the C tier, maybe right behind the Lumberjack. I do really like the Evo Musketeer, though, and it is a lot of fun to use. Maybe better than the Lumberjack. Actually, better than Dark Goblin 2. Hold up. No, I'm going to put it at the top of C tier. Next up here, we have the Evo Knight, one of my favorite evolutions as well. I love this card so much. I feel like the Evo Knight kind of made a very nice comeback into the meta. Before, Evo Knight wasn't really viable for a while because there was always better options, but I feel like with the recent meta changes, Evo Knight has been getting a lot more love recently, and I do think that it is, you know, in the middle of the B tier pack. It's used in quite a few decks like Graveyard, Expo, some Logbait decks, and even a few other random decks. I think that it's better than the Mega Knight, but maybe worse than the RG. I feel like right here is the perfect spot for the Evo Knight. I like it a lot. Now we have Evo Ice Spirit. Dude, I don't really need to explain too much why Evo Ice Spirit is S tier, but it is most definitely S tier. I feel like the Evo Ice Spirit is so strong defensively. It's funny because Evo Ice Spirit wasn't really too great in the past, but after a few buffs to the Evo Ice Spirit and a lot of nerfs to other evolutions, I feel like Ice Spirit kind of had the catch-up that it needed, and Evo Ice Spirit is a staple of cycle decks. I'm going to put it right below the Snowball. And guys, for the final evolution, we have the Evo Witchman. I don't think anything needs to be said for this Evo Witchman. Evo Witch is the dumbest card they've added in a long time. I am a huge hater of it. It is so broken. Definitely, in my opinion, the best evolution of the game. I was wrong about it too because I thought that it wasn't going to be that great, but it is super broken. Well, guys, that is going to be the final finale of my tier list. Thank you all for watching. Comment down below your opinions, your thoughts, and maybe where you think I went wrong, where you think I was right. I would really appreciate to see your guys' insight. Maybe we could have a discussion in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.